Welcome back to Are You Not Entertained podcast. And we are on episode 15. So, without further ado, let's just jump right into the madness this week. 007 First Light didn't just get delayed out of nowhere. This is strategic because one GTA 6 move, the industry moved with it. Publishers know one thing for sure: do not launch near GTA, do not compete with GTA, and you definitely don't get buried by GTA's release window. So when GTA 6 slid, it created a domino effect, and First Light was caught right in that blast radius. Delay isn't about panic, it's about survival. And why it happened tells us a lot about how fragile release windows really are right now going into 2026. GTA 6 moving later didn't just remove pressure, it created opportunity. With GTA 6 now landing much later in the year, 007 First Light suddenly has 6 months of runway all to itself. That's huge. It means Bond can launch, breathe, build momentum without getting instantly buried by the biggest game of the decade, some would say. That extra space changes everything. Marketing can ramp up properly. Trailers, preview, hands-on coverage, word of mouth can spread, all without competing for headlines for GTA. Players have time to play it, buy it, talk about it before GTA 6 dominates the conversation. This delay wasn't about dodging GTA anymore, it was about positioning ahead of it. Studios know that once GTA 6 arrives, spending and attention locks up for months. So launching 6 months earlier gives Bond a clean window to establish itself and cash in before storms hit. So this delay isn't defensive, it's strategic, because in today's industry, it's not just about launching for it first, it's about launching at the right distance from a giant that is GTA 6. All right, like the intro say, hey, 007 has been delayed. You can see their announcement. They're delayed until the 27th of May of 2026. So it's not a big delay. It's 2 months, and we already reported on this show that once GTA 6 was gonna get pushed back, a lot of earlier the year games was probably gonna get pushed back too, just because they now. I mean, if you would have saw before, it was really crowded. It was really crowded before
Very,
GTA 6 release
very
date, and
crowded.
now that it's gone, it has nothing to fear. You can push back 2 months, 3 months, and feel like you have enough room to breathe. Your game has enough room to breathe. So this doesn't shock anybody. You shouldn't be worried. It doesn't mean now. This is not to say that something's wrong with the quality of the game. We're not saying that, and I don't think this the least delay say this. I think this is just a big fish left the pond. That is the earlier part of the year, and now all the little fishes have room to breathe to swim. And I think it has a lot of that because GTA 6 controls the calendar. GTA 6 just isn't a game. It's a marketing event. It doesn't happen every year, even every 5. Shit, sometimes even 10, you go 10 years without the game, 13 years without a new GTA 6. So it's a big deal, and publishers do not want to compete for attention. They don't want to really compete for player wallets, and they don't want to get buried in the coverage that will be GTA 6. History shows studios actively, and when I say, I want to emphasize, they actively avoid GTA launches, and that's not to be surprised, just for all the reasons we just said. But why does this 007 game need space? They need cultural attention. It needs to be some narrative focus around them, room to establish its identity. And the biggest reason why this is a big topic is that the fact that AAA games cost too much to take a hit that would be you launching too close to GTA. And like we said, they actively avoid GTA's release windows. And one mega game, I hate to say it, but GTA has the power to freeze the entire market that is the gaming industry. For studios, I'm sure that was like working on Bond, they was probably tracking anything and all news from Rockstar about the release window. At first, GTA 6 should have been already out by now, if I remember the original release date. And then it got delayed to the top of the year. And so people was like, all right, let's just come out, before them. Well, we can't really hold the game off too long. Let's just go before them. And then once they got news that GTA delayed again, I'm sure the Bond people was like so ecstatic because they don't want to wait to put the game came out, then they still don't want to like be right next to their release date. So once GTA was like, nah, we at the end of the year, we out. I'm sure that was a lot of silent releases of just, oh my God, thank God in the studio. So yeah, I don't think there's gonna be an issue. I don't think there's a quality problem. I don't think this is a Mass Effect thing where people didn't know what the game was until they saw it at the game show. If you don't, if you know what I'm talking about. So I think 007 will be fine. I think it's okay. I just think it wants some more time to, really ramp up and show the game and really get the momentum train where it needs to be, because this is a triple A release game. So, and it's been a long time since a 007 game. So I'm sure they want they want some focus on them. And 2 months is not a long time to delay. I'm not really upset by it, to be honest. But let me ask you this, Infamous. Is it healthy for the industry that GTA 6, well, GTA games period, has this much power that they can literally shift the industry to which way they feel like it, just because they put up a release date?
GTA games inject growth into the industry. And by that, I will say this. There are many people have said, there are many analysts who predict that GTA 6 will move consoles. GTA 6 will get the PS4 and the Xbox One players off their ass and jump into the current, about to end now, generation. You have people on PS4 who are like, why do I need a PS5 when GTA 5 is still on here? Fortnite's on here. Every big major game in our franchise is still available on PS4s and Xbox Ones. GTA 6 come out and it's already been reported, hey, this is a PS5 and Series X only console. So that being said, you want to play the new hotness, you need to spend some money. And unfortunately for those people, they'll be entering into a very inflated and kind of fucked up market, because as we've mentioned before on this podcast, we got our systems and still have our launch day $500 systems. Xboxes are up to $800 last time I checked, and the PlayStations, I think it was just a measly $50 increase. But even still, normal times, a PS5 probably been maybe $300 by now. They would have benefited, but now it seems like, they're being punished in a sense. But because GTA is such a huge culture juggernaut, people will spend, and they will spend by the truckloads to now get into PlayStation and Xbox's current
Okay.
ecosystem.
Okay, that's fine and dandy for
Mhm.
Nintendo. I mean, not Nintendo, but Sony and Xbox. But that benefits them and interjects money
Mhm.
into their wallets. But I'm more referring to game studios and game makers and publishers. That the games don't benefit from GTA 6.
Oh well, yeah. Well, I hadn't got to that aspect yet. Now
Okay, okay.
the
It's kind of
negative
black and
side to
white.
that is GTA stifles and kind of freezes the market. I think we talked about. I can't remember whether it was on the show or not. This projected no game should release within like a 90-day period before or after GTA comes out, and even then, it's kind of like, will you still get some type of impact? Now, thankfully, GTA comes out. Well, actually, not thankfully, since it got pushed to the end of 26, that's the holiday period. There are many games now that need to think, hey, should we launch up, which is going to push crunch, which is going to lead to a possibility of a more buggy, unstable release, or a delay and you miss a crucial holiday high spending. GTA can benefit and also hinder. A good example would be Silk Song, and I think it was the game Hell Is Us. When Silk Song announced when they were coming out, everyone indie-ish wise moved their game. Hell, most of them made it public why they were doing it. You had one company that was like, hey, we good. We're gonna put our game out. We're not worried, and they have not done the numbers. And the game has went on sale, I think, 2 or 3 times now. Pick up ground where they lost. GTA coming out, and like you said, companies are like, yo, don't go near it. We will not make money. And adding on to the high cost of the ecosystem, I'm sorry, not the ecosystem, of how things are going. Like you said, not all those games take too much money to make. Games cost too much money. We keep hearing this analyst talking about GTA should be $100. It could get away with that. Your average consumer now is going to look at it like, all right, this is what I have to buy for the next X amount of months. Do I buy this game, which will give me 30 to 40 hours of enjoyment, or are you going to buy Grand Theft Auto, which will last you years? years, it is a detriment. There are some games that probably will suffer. There are some games that will get moved up, moved out. My biggest concerns are, shame to say this, it's Call of Duty, because GTA will and is one of the only non-annual franchises that has ever competed and outdone Call of Duty as far as money gained in an X amount of time. And PlayStation's Wolverine was set to be a holiday 2026 release. I'm sure executives at Sony are like, yo, what do we do? Because no matter how much gravitas or buying power or fandom Marvel has with its fans, Grand Theft Auto is Grand Theft Auto. Plain simple and period. It can eject money and get new players and etc. But then it can also be such a hindrance. And then I heard you saying something about Nintendo. Some people they really ain't got to worry about nothing is Nintendo fans, because it ain't coming out on them. It ain't coming on their platform, and it's not coming
Yeah.
out on PC.
Allegedly,
But
there's rumors of
allegedly,
ports,
yes.
but
Let's cover
don't think
ourselves.
that
Allegedly,
I don't think that's gonna be reality.
yeah.
Eh,
But
yeah.
I would say it is somewhat bad that this one game, this one IP holds so much weight over the entire industry, over platform. Because as we talked before this, and when I got the news that this game was being delayed, the first thing that came to my mind is this will not be the first game to do this. March of next year.
I feel like they already done it. Like a lot of games that were announced at the Game Awards, they're in that GTA original release window, or at least the
Oh
one that
yeah,
was
but
supposed to
I
be.
mean, so
They're already doing it. They're already moving games
oh yeah, yeah,
back.
yeah.
They're already so it's not when they're already doing it now, and
Yeah, no,
so
I meant more games that we've known, because March and February were a very thick stacked months for next year. So this was set for March. Now they've delayed it to May. There's Crimson Desert that's set for March, another huge title that I'm looking for. And now that GTA is moved, it's like, okay, we can breathe, guys. We can relax now. I wouldn't be surprised if Crimson Desert like, hey, we gonna move this till April, just to, like they say, give more space to polish and get everything together, especially with both of these
there ain't
games.
no more polishing. They're trying to just, ramp up their marketing as much as possible. In my
Oh,
eyes,
absolutely.
they're not touching the
That's
game.
corporate talk.
The game is finished, people. They're just
The game
trying
is
to
finished.
get
Well, actually,
they're trying to get the marketing and all that the marketing machine even more wound up before, they let the toy go across the table. Listen, this has nothing to do, like I said, I don't think 007 has anything, to polish. I mean, maybe they're working out some bugs, possibly, but at most, this is just them trying to give their game the room to breathe and not have February stacked and March stacked with back to back to back to back to back games. That's what I'm
so
saying. More delays will
I'll
probably
give you
happen.
that. I'll give you that with the March stack back to back thing. But I implore you, and I implore all viewers, go back and watch the revealed gameplay that they showed for 007. There was a lot of choppiness and frame drops that was going on. Now, of course, you can chop that up to it was an earlier build of the game. It was just something they wanted to show and get off. That could have been fixed. Absolutely not. I can't remember what engine is being used for this. If it's Unreal Engine 5, Unreal Engine 5 has been taking a lot of L's with the instability of games launching. So it could be either or. It could be them getting their marketing shit together, a few more polishing touches. I've said numerous times on this show, no one wants to be the next CD Projekt Red. And as my cousin just reported, and I will add to this, 007 is not it is the newest James Bond game in a very long time. And thankfully, it is not tied to a movie, unlike other releases are. So you can take away the woes of a licensed game, but at the same time, it could be a new franchise for them. It's a new product. You have people who don't know who the hell James Bond is, these younger generations. So to hit on this, it needs to come out of the garage. All cylinders running, paint spotless, shining nice and clean. But absolutely, I do agree. Two months.
Yeah, 2
What can you
months.
get done in 2 months
In 2
besides
months,
just more marketing?
in 2 months, and that's why I said they're gonna have time to drop, more gameplay, more trailers, so that's what I think the 2 months is going, them releasing more of a polished product, more gameplay, that's probably at peak capacity of the output of the Unreal Engine. They can give out trailers, weapons, probably some sneak peeks and stuff like that. That's what I think the 2 months is gonna be filled with, and rightfully so, like, hey, it's a AAA game, no telling how much money is spent, and so they're trying to get the biggest numbers they can get for launch day. And we'll see. Like this was a game that I was interested in, so I am waiting to see more gameplay, more trailers to see. I won't buy it on day one because I'm just not that type of game consumer anymore. I have to wait and see some feedback, see some walkthroughs before I dedicate, $70 or something. But yeah,
Absolutely.
but hey, that is 007 statement on the screen. There, it is delayed, but it's not by much. So we'll see. We'll see how it do. We'll see if the extra 2 months is to the benefit of the launch numbers, or if hey, 007 is just gonna do what it's gonna do, and that's gonna be it. I don't really know how many people are excited about the 007 game, so definitely comment below. Are you looking forward to it? No, I'll be really
I am.
interested. I'll be really interested in the response of this game when it does release next year. I do though, let me just ask the audience and the viewers this. If GTA 6 can delay the 007 game without even launching, what can't it delay? And that's a very interesting question because we just said that GTA is damn near a spectacle. It's like it's must-watch television. So I think the answer is nothing. I don't think nothing would not get delayed if GTA came into its window. Honestly, I can't think of nothing big enough that could
So I would
withstand.
I would counter that with saying before Call of Duty's fuck up this year, I would say Activision probably would have thought they were
Nah,
too big for GTA to do it.
nah.
Because I remember when GTA 5 launched and it was 800 million, it was close to a billion in like a day or 3 days, whatever, whatnot. I remember Activision being very arrogant, like, "Oh, congratulations, we'll get that back when we launched Call of Duty on." And it was close. I think they just surpassed them just a little bit as far as funds went. That Activision is very cocky, but like I said,
Yeah, but that was
before this
13
year,
years ago. That's 13
yeah,
years
yeah,
ago.
that's what I'm saying. Before their blunder now, I would have said Activision probably would be arrogant to be like, "Oh," but no, I would say
Yeah, I don't
people.
think there is nothing.
You have people
Yeah.
ready to put PTO time in
Yeah,
to take
like
off of work.
yeah, and listen, I know this is not a GTA topic, but it kind of sub is a GTA topic. But it's nothing. It's nothing because there's no other game personally that I'm not gonna go to work for on the day that it launches. Like in any other game scenario, I'm going to work. But GTA come out, I'm not going to work. So just nah. I don't. For me personally, there is no other game that's moving me like GTA. I can understand like somebody saying, "Oh, you'll still launch when a Red Dead game comes out," because Red Dead don't do. I mean, it does big, but it's not. But GTA, 13 years, nah, you ain't beating that hype, baby. I don't think no one can beat that hype. PSN accounts are getting hacked. And players are asking the same question: what the fuck is going on at PlayStation? People are reporting locked accounts, missing games, unauthorized purchases, and this feels way too familiar. Sony says PSN is secure. Player says their account says otherwise. Is this another breach or account security or users being left exposed without enough protection? Because when this keeps happening, it stops feeling like bad luck and it starts feeling like a systematic problem. Sony, you're part of the problem. Because every time this happens, the conversation gets muddy. Not every hacked account means there is a massive PSN breach, but that doesn't mean Sony is off the hook either. A lot of these cases come from phishing, reused passwords, old emails, compromises, or players not using two-factor authentication. But here's the real issue: the damage is the same either way. Players lose access to their libraries, accounts get locked, customer support takes days, sometimes weeks to respond. When digital libraries are tied to one account, the compromises are huge. What's frustrating players isn't just security, it's the recovery process. Getting your account back Getting your account back can feel slow, confusing, stressful, especially when you got hundreds or thousands of dollars in games all on the line. So whether this is user error or platform gaps, the takeaway is clear. Digital ownership only works if protection and recovery works with it. And until
Mm.
Sony makes that process faster, clearer, and every new report just adds the fear that your account and everything tied to it can disappear overnight. All right. So, yes, there are reports of PlayStation Network being hacked once again. This is not its first time. It is I don't even think it's his second time. I think this has happened multiple times. Like the intro said, not every time an account gets hacked is a nation a spread wide security breach because sometimes there are phishing emails, fake PSN login pages, reuse passwords from other breaches, but to players the result feels the same. One account, entire game library, losing access can mean a lot of money on the line, like the intro said. And hey, listen, this is the true evil side, or not evil side, but downfall to all digital ecosystem. This is its Achilles heel. Account recovery is the biggest pain point. I mean, support response times can be slow from Sony. Verification steps can feel unclear and very inconsistent that some players have reported. And then players don't know how long the recovery will take, what proof is needed, and whether purchases will be restored. And sometimes there's unauthorized purchases. And so you need to figure out a way to get your money back from Sony. Like I said earlier, this is not the first, and I don't even think this is the second time this has happened. Repeated incidents kills trust. Even if causes differ, repeated stories create fear. If this keeps happening, it could happen to me. Thoughts start to be in players' mind. Trust erosion matters more than the technical explanation, of why these incidents happen. Sony's communication problem. Hey, Sony often responds quietly and very subtly and very late. Lack of transparency fuels speculations. Player wants clear guidance, clear timeline, and clear accountability. So, all that to say, hey, I think this one people did have 2 point authentication set up, and they shit still got hacked. And I know it was, I don't know, was it yesterday, day before? I was in the middle of a session playing Arc Raiders, and I suddenly got logged out. And it was like, hey, totally took me out my game and brought me to the main menu of the PlayStation, and it was like you're not logged in. I said, "What the fuck?" And so I had to do all this shit to log in, and it all for it to be like, "Hey, take away your two-step authentication and put in a pass key." It wanted me to take away that shit, and I was just like, "You brought me out of my game. You disrupted me. Why didn't you do this before I got in the fucking game?" That's what really irritated my soul. But luckily, once I did that, somehow I still went back inside of the match, even though it was way less time. I mean, yeah, but still, I mean, it really irritated me. And I was wondering what the fuck was going on. And then I got online and I saw the articles of PSN network getting hacked again. I was like, oh, okay, now it makes sense. I guess let me ask you this. It's kind of hard because I don't want to blame the user. I mean, Sony lets you use a password over and over again. I mean, obviously they don't have the right things set up security wise to prevent you from doing it. So I mean, I feel like the responsibility is still on Sony. But let me ask, what responsibility should Sony have versus the users? Cases like this, when it comes to strong passwords and two-step authentication and pass keys and all that. What responsibility should a platform hold versus the users?
So it's on both parties to do what's necessary. Sony can adopt a 30, maybe even a 90-day thing, which people will hate until like, hey, you had this password X amount of time, you need to go ahead and change it. That will piss people off. You mentioned it. People using the same password for so many things. The best online security I can think of is Chase and Apple. You will get a notification very quickly from Apple saying, hey, this password came up in the data breach. Hey, you need to change this. And we're warning you right here and now. The sad part of this is this, it's gonna sound bad, but this is kind of a cultural thing because Sony and Nintendo are kind of leagues behind when it comes to network slash online infrastructure. I'm not trying to glaze Xbox and everything because they've had online problems, hacks, DOD, DDoS attacks, etc. But it's nowhere near as frequent or as dramatic as it is with Sony. I don't know what precautions on the back end Microsoft does, but at the same time, Microsoft is a software company, so they're just great at this. But it will be some type of collaboration between Sony and the user to be like, hey, we want this or we'll do this, and then on the back end, we'll handle this as far as protecting their accounts. Now, full disclosure, and we've mentioned before, me and my cousin, we game share, and I know for a fact she has made fun of me because my password is long as shit. It is almost a thesis statement, and it's because of this type of shit here happening. Just as the 2011 PlayStation hack, where the whole network was down for 30 days, I wasn't phased. That's why you got your disc and your single player games. But anywho, it will take work on both hands. But Sony, I don't know why Japanese companies are just kind of lax with this online thing. I don't know if it's a gaming thing or whatever the case is. They would need to work more hand in hand as far as answering your question. Those are the best thing I think of. You can make it every 6 months, change your password. Do as I do with the special characters, capital letter, and a long ass password. Try to think ahead. But I wanted to touch on something from this report that this was happening. It's not a widespread breach. This is a more isolated things, and this is people oversharing. There was an article that I read that said that people's accounts are being exploited and potentially targeted, even if they do have two-factor authentication. And there was a French publicist went on record talking about how he lost his account. It was hacked. He got it back from the hacker, PlayStation support, and it was hacked again. And he talked, I won't say face to face with the hacker, but the hacker told him like, hey, you can do whatever you want and I'll get this again, and explain what the exploit is. The exploit itself is done by gaining someone's transaction number and through some back end, gaining the 4 digits of the transaction number, email address, and for whatever part of Sony's in, that little bit of information helps them gain access to the system. It's not necessarily through the whole network, it's through on the account level. And through that, people are just getting their stuff taken. And he had it taken multiple times and got it back. And the guy told him, like, hey, I'm going to do what I want to do. There was another very famous PlayStation trophy hunter, Hakum, who detailed their experience with the hacker and PlayStation support, which ended sourly on for him, but he got his account back. And it did take a few months. There was also another trophy hunter, David123, who got their information stolen through their account and was being upsold on Telegram. I don't know what the hell that is. But it shows what we have been discussing between this online ecosystem, the digital future. Nothing is safe, but Sony, this ain't even a PlayStation thing. Sony needs to look into putting more resources and more of a backbone into their online infrastructure. I have never heard of you exploit, but then again, I'm not a hacker, I'm not a computer whiz, of obtaining someone's account to a transaction number. But then again, we live in an age where everyone shares every fucking thing on goddamn. It'll get worse before it gets better, but like I said, it will be something on both parties to do. Like reading this, I probably might change mine, and you probably should change yours. Whether it be just a shifting of the numbers, the order they're in, whatever it is the case. And I didn't know that happened to you, because for you to get fully signed out, it's like, yo, someone is doing something.
Yeah, but it was like I said, they wanted me to go get away from the two-step authentication. They wanted me to go to a pass key. So, and I did check my libraries and my purchases. There was no issue. So I don't know. I don't think that was somebody. I think that was Sony trying to get me away from the two-step authentication. Maybe, I don't know, but it was weird, and that's why I
Can
did
I
have
can
to.
I ask something? Was this through email that they said to do this?
No, like, so when I got signed out and I signed back in, I went to the
Mhm.
to the thing, and they was like, "Hey, there has been I don't know, something," and they said your two-step authentication has a security risk. They suggested to switch to another security step, and that's where I went away from the two-step authentication, and I went to my face to be the authenticator.
This could have been them trying to
Yeah, yeah,
get
yeah,
ahead of the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
get ahead of the
yeah.
mess before it got big. Seeing that the two-factor was not working as intended, so they're like, hey, use the passkey thing, because if I remember correctly, I think PlayStation sets eight to 10, whatever, and they are specifically unique at that time and you save them. If someone was not there and they were generated, there's no way for them to get a hold of that. So I can see that on that end. Shit, damn it, now making me nervous. But yeah, this is a relationship on both ends. Man, I ain't gonna lie, as consumers, we are lazy. I know, like one, hey, I say it all the time. I'm an old ass guy. I know people in their 40s and 50s that still use the same password for so much shit, knowing, hey, you know that's bad. You know you can get hacked or your information stolen. That, oh yeah, I know, but I'll get to it. I'm like, these corporations, you spend $300, $400, $500, and you running them. Oh no, it wasn't me, it wasn't me. They ain't quick to be understanding. They're like, hey, prove it.
Hey,
Same thing
that's
with
why
identity.
you should buy everything with a credit card because you know what? That credit card is insured. Your debit card is No, no, I'm
And
not.
hey, but no, that's true though. That's true. Because them credit card companies, they'll, and this is why I said Chase and Apple. This is not a promotion. This is not a sponsorship. But Chase, at least with me, the moment I slide that card in any establishment that is outside of my norm, that transaction is denied. I get an email and a text message. Hey, is this you? Is
Mhm.
this you in Buffalo, New York, trying to buy a hand knitted scarf? The moment you say no, they're like, "Don't worry about it, Mr. Infamous. Close that card. You'll get another one in 7 to 10 business days. We recommend you go into a branch and grab cash." They are on top of it. Hey, what my cousin said is true. You can either get the cards that you can reload and tie it to your account, or a credit card. Because for whatever reason, credit cards, they have more access on their back end to see what's going on and whatnot. And when money has to get returned or sent back, unlike a debit card, that's 7 to 10 business days thing, it's almost instantaneous with a credit card. They don't fuck around. They have the juice to be like, yeah, that's not you. These are just the times we live in, sadly.
Yeah, so let's end it off. I'm gonna ask the audience a question. If one compromised login can erase your entire library, are we really owning our games? Hey,
Nope.
that's hey, and that's the downfall of digital ecosystem, like we said in our last video, man. But that's the risk you pay. You know, one bad apple could fuck up your whole gaming experience. You go to log in one day, and hey, but let me know how you feel in the comments
Mm-hmm.
below. All right, Valve just made a quiet but massive move. The Steam Deck LCD model is officially gone, people. No warning, no big announcement, just discontinued. What does that mean if you're thinking about buying one? Is the OLED now the only real option? What
Nah.
happens to pricing, support, and Valve moving forward? Because when Valve cuts a model, it's not random and the ripple effect matters. Because Valve killing the LCD model isn't about failure, it's about focus, people. The OLED Steam Deck didn't just replace the screen, it fixed battery life, improved thermals, boosted efficiency, and delivered a noticeably better experience. Keeping the LCD version around only confused buyers and undercut Valve's own upgrade. This move also signals confidence. Valve isn't hedging anymore. They're betting fully on the deck as a long-term platform, not an experiment. That means software support stays strong, but hardware options get simpler. For buyers, the message is clear. If you want a Steam Deck, OLED is the baseline now. The downside, entry cost does go up. Yet the upside, fewer compromises and better device out of the box. So this isn't the end of the Steam Deck story. It's Valve cleaning up the lineup and setting expectations. Real question now is whether Valve sticks with the strategy or has something even bigger waiting in the winds. Yeah, listen, I guess the ultimate question that maybe a lot of people will have, well, is should I still go out of my way to buy the LCD model if they're still available? And I'm not saying you
No.
shouldn't. I'm sure Valve is gonna support it. You know, give still update support as it goes for a number of years. But I do believe cleaning up the lineup and focusing, on what is the better product is better in the long run for Valve, especially as we report all the things that makes these handhelds are going up. You kind of have to trim the fat in your manufacturing process, you know? And if the LCD is not, and I'm not trying to shit on it. Don't misconstrue what I'm saying, but hey baby, only the best is going to make it out the door. And I think that is Valve saying we're not going to spend the money it takes to make these anymore, and whatever's left in the market, if it'll sell, it sell cool, but we're not putting any more of the LCD models in the market. We're just not. We're focusing, we're tightening up the ship, you know. Only the better products is going to make it out the door. And honestly, even with a 550 baseline, that rod or Xbox handheld was how much? This still
1,000.
looks, yeah, this is still a deal. Even, and that's probably another reason why they were okay getting rid of the LCD model, because even at 550, when you compare it to other shit, it's still a deal. And for what all this thing that capability gets you, 550, you know, that's still, you can still stomach that. You can still take that on the chin and be okay when you compare it to a lot of these other handhelds. So I'm not upset by this. I think this is just a smart move. Like I said, a lot of people are looking at the books, they're trimming the fat, they're buckling down. You know, 2026 is going to be a wild ride for a lot of people. And I do, and this is not that type of topic, but it is a Valve topic. If this is the baseline from the handheld, I'm always thinking about, well, so what's the baseline for that hardware they're coming out next year with? And I can probably confidently say it's gonna be probably a bit more than 550. So that's the only thing that this topic really made me think, well, if 550 is the baseline from the handheld, what's gonna be the baseline for the hardware? But they already said they're not subsidizing it, so we should already expect it's gonna be a little pricey. But yeah, I'm not mad about none of this. I think it's kind of smart. You know, don't try to drag on an inferior product when you got the OLED screen already set, and it's already looked like a deal when you compare it to other handhelds. So I'm not mad at it.
I'm not mad at it either. I'm just surprised it took this long. To me, as a Steam user and a Steam Deck owner, when the OLED came out, I automatically assumed the LCD model would just be. But Valve played it as, hey, you have two options. Even though there were still so many movers and shakers in the market, you had the Lenovo Go, your ROG before the Xbox stepped in, and all this other shit. They're like, hey, yeah, the competition maybe a little bit more beefier as far as spec wise, but and they cost upwards of $5 and more. Hey, we got you right here. You could be at 300 all the way up to the 650. So it was very strategic and smart to play along with it. Then they started offering refurbished models. Like, hey, you have options. And that's one thing consumers do like, it's options, to make sure they're not feeling like, oh, I have to get this particular thing. Even with the Xbox ROG Ally, they've only really shown off, marketed, pushed, and shown the black version. That's 1,000. There is another cheaper model, the 600 one, but if you don't know anything in the tech world, you wouldn't know much about that. Hell, you don't even know what its capabilities is, because everyone just goes on the black one. And we keep saying this, we're not trying to beat a dead horse, but with the current market, with the rising of the RAM, the SD cards and everything, I'm pretty sure Valve took a look at the books and was like, hey, is it financially responsible to keep making this model? And they probably said no. And my cousin, on air and off, has kind of gotten on me about my naivety of thinking that Valve will just, take a hit just to be leading or to have the mass market appeal. And it's clearly showing no. Yeah, you could get your hands on an LCD model for 400, which used to be an old Switch price, and get yourself in the door, and then later on, piece by piece, upgraded, with a higher end SD card. Hell, they even have the SSDs you could buy separately to upgrade and everything. So small distinguishes between the models, but they said, hey, we'll get you in that's lighter on your wallet. Sadly, that's not the case now. And this also does go to beg a question. This is now the entry point for their flagship handheld, will be the entry point for the Steam machine. We are still speculating and wondering that, but we won't get too off topic. This is not the time nor place for that. But like I said, I'm just shocked it took this long. I have an OLED model, and it is night and day compared to the LCD model. And as my co-host and cousin asked the question beforehand, should you still try to run and grab whatever you can, whether it be from Valve, eBay, or whoever? Me, I say no, because when the time comes, you spend the extra money by whether it be the bigger SD card or whatever it is, the piecemeal to improve it yourself a little bit alone. You could have saved that money, probably got games, if you would have just wanted just a little bit more. It's a little bit more. I know with the OLED models, I don't know if it's just on the 1 terabyte model. That's the one I have. It comes with an anti-glare, anti-scratch screen. That means a lot. Now, I don't know people taking this bad boy out outside, but even in the house, you're next to a window or whatnot, light shine, glare comes up. To me, that's a good feature to have. We'll see what other moves and things that go on as market keeps continuously shifting, because we are a few days away from the new year coming, and Valve said themselves, Steam machines are early 26. To me, that's March, maybe ish April. We have no word on pricing. I already have my model. Actually, I still have my LCD model. I need to get rid of that now.
Alright, so you think
Sweet.
people should buy the OLED just to go ahead and get future proof pretty much.
Yeah, so I know with PC, people's whole thing is choice, like the Matrix. I can buy this, but I can choose to upgrade this rather than that, and etc. And that's great. That's fine. In these times where everything is costing so much and people are truly nickel and diming every choice they have, okay, if it takes another month or two for you to get this thing, then just let it be another month or two. The money that you would spend to try to catch up to that model or whatnot, you could have just saved it and just had it in. The battery life is a huge improvement from the LCD to the OLED. The coloring, the saturation, performance. Now, thankfully, when you do buy games on Steam and they do have their verification process, it is not, verified as console for LCD versus OLED. No, it just says Steam Deck verified. But you will notice the performance and the battery longevity when you start to play more heavier, hefty titles like a Cyberpunk, Dragon Age Veilguard, or Death Stranding. All those are verified on Steam. They'll run perfectly fine, but there are also more bigger, heftier games. So on an OLED model, I think when they ran tests for like Cyberpunk, I think it was like maybe 3 hours or something like that, depending on your settings. You put that on the OLED, you're probably looking at maybe 2 hours or less. That's a
Okay, okay,
difference.
okay, yeah. I guess, let me ask the audience this: if the only Steam Deck left is the best one, is that better for players or worse for your accessibility? And that pretty
Ooh,
much
that's
is
a good question.
asking, yeah, like some people could only afford the 400. So did they take the I guess the people that would be buyers that can only afford the cheaper option out of the market. And that kind of goes into what we've been saying, that gaming is becoming a luxury. And
Mm-hmm.
having a 550 interest price, for someone with a nice decent job, someone like us probably could afford it. I mean, some people are not in the financial situation where they can do that, but they can scrounge up 400 versus 550. I know some people gonna be coming, it's only $150 difference. But listen, if that's all they got, that's all I got.
Yeah. And
So
in these
yeah,
times, $150, that's a lot of money.
yeah, so I guess that's a question. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think about that? Cuz yeah, that's going to be the people who are going to be lost in the sauce. The people that cannot afford the 550 entry model that is now the OLED.
All right, yeah, you made me think of an interesting question. The announcement of this comes right around the holiday time when people are buying, spending, gift giving, etc. Was my question would be: was this a well thought plan to say, "Hey, we're discontinuing this"? A FOMO in a sense, where now Christmas here. Oh, well, I need to go ahead and grab this now while I can, or did they just
Mm.
like, "Hey,
Honestly,
this
I
is
don't know. I guess
this
it could go either way.
Yeah, this is the biggest holiday shopping spending, Black Friday, Christmas, etc. And like, hey, somewhere in marketing was like, hey, we need to let this go. Hey, I make an announcement around Christmas, the holiday time. People will buy this up quickly, slap that credit card and make it happen, baby. That was just something that crossed my mind as you was bringing this up.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Yeah, I can go either way, I guess. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not like they'll ever make a full announcement on it, but yeah, that's a
Oh
possibility. I can
no.
see that. Okay, $40 billion. That's what's on the table, people. Larry Ellison just made a massive move involving Warner Brothers, and it instantly changed the conversation in Hollywood. This isn't a rumor. This isn't a pocket change. Is a power play. So why would one of the richest men in the world step into the chaos around Warner Brothers right now? And what does $40 billion bet actually say about where media is heading? Because when money like this moves, it's never just one company. All right, and here's why the move matters beyond the headlines, people. Warner Brothers just isn't a studio, it's an IP, it's infrastructure, it's a global reach. We're talking about DC, HBO, legacy film libraries, and decades of cultural power. A $40 billion move here isn't about saving something, it's about controlling the future of content. Larry Ellison doesn't invest emotionally, he invests strategically. That means this isn't nostalgia or fandom. It's a belief that premium IP still wins when paired with the right technology, distribution, and long term vision. This also signals something bigger. Traditional media alone isn't enough anymore. Tech money is circling entertainment because content fuels platforms, ecosystem, and influence. Owning stories now means owning attention. So this isn't just a Warner Brothers story. This is a sign that the next phase of Hollywood will be decided by people who think in decades, not in box office weekends. Woo, shots fired. And when $40 billion is on the line, someone is about to gain a lot more than just a few measly movies. So for people that don't know Larry Ellison, and I actually had to look him up because this topic came up and I didn't know who the fuck he was, but apparently he overtook Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon, as I think he became the second richest man in the US or something to that effect, or not the world, but I think in the US. I don't know, they flip-flop every now and then, so no telling who it is right now, but say all to say this motherfucker got a lot of motherfucking money. And if you don't know, he is from the tech world. He is the co-creator of Oracle, and if you work in any type of corporate job, I'm sure one of the applications you use in your day-to-day life is Oracle. Even if you're in the military. When I was in the military, we use Oracle. When I was on the civilian side of the military, we use Oracle. And a lot of other jobs and big companies use Oracle. I mean, I don't really know one corporate job that I've had that we don't use Oracle. Yeah, he is the creator, so he has contracts with the military and a lot of big corporations. So Oracle is a big deal, people, and that is how he made a lot of his money. And his kids, though they're not in the tech world, his son Davison Ellison, he is the creator, or one of the creators from Skydance, one of the big people that own Paramount Plus, and that is the money behind Paramount Plus is Skydance and a few other things. And Larry Ellison owns a large percentage of Paramount Plus, if you don't know. So yeah, that's where Paramount Plus money comes from. Is from this Ellison family. So this is once again, this whole Warner Brothers thing is really getting very, very muddy because I still don't understand. At the end of the day, bruh, there was a whole betting process. Why didn't you just beat Netflix in the betting process? Why are you doing all this stuff after the fact? And I still can't get to that answer. And it's really what's bugging me every time I see a new headline about the Skydance and the Paramount people. Why didn't you just win the betting process? Like now you're trying to pour all this money when you could did it. And don't get me wrong, I don't know how the betting process went. I don't know how that goes. I don't even know what's involved. That's behind closed doors. That's kind of hush hush. So, but my thing is, if you didn't beat them there, and they've already the shareholders of Warner Brothers already rejected your deal, but when you went kind of behind people's backs and went straight to the shareholders and then denied you then, I'm not sure what $40 billion coming from your bank account is going to do now because they already rejected one of your deals. And so, this is getting very, very, very convoluted, very, very messy. And I'm sure this is going to be, and this is just the surface levels. I can only imagine what's going on behind doors, the probably grimy and schemy bullshit that's happening behind closed doors that the public don't know about. I could only imagine. But it's funny because, like I said, Larry Ellison is from tech. That's where he made his money. That's how he became one of the richest men in the US. So, tech buying into media is very, very interesting, especially when media is taking so many L's and so many, L movie projects and not making money in the box office. It really is a change upon us. We're witnessing change right in front of our eyes with this whole media thing. So Listen, I ain't got no skin in the game. I thought Netflix would be the better deal. Obviously, especially now that, Warner Brothers have rejected Paramount Plus hostile bid takeover. Now he's doing this. It just seems weird. Something here I'm not getting, and I'm not sure what I'm missing. I guess my question is Warner Brothers as good as some of this IP is it really worth all this hustle and bustle and all this backdoor grimy schemy moves and like is it worth it? Cause I don't know, and I could be foolish and naive. I don't know. It just seems like this is a lot of, and then why Warner Brothers? I would have thought, when Fox was up for sale, no one really besides, well, it was some little back and forth, but it was overly known that Disney was gonna get that shit, and I didn't see all this pushback. Now you can say that was some years ago, some things have changed. Yes, it's just getting real crazy with this Warner Brothers deal, and I just feel like I'm missing something big outside of, the big IPs and the films and even the real estate, the studios. There's gotta be something more to this deal for this man, Larry Ellison, to really be doing all this and putting 40 billion, and honestly, 40 billion is nothing to this man. Let's just get that clear. This man is worth hundreds of hundreds. But yeah, I just feel like I'm missing something. I don't know. Honestly, when Warner Brothers went up for sale and they were struggling to find buyers a few years ago, where was Larry Ellison then? Where was Paramount Plus then? Why are you doing this now? Is this really about keeping Netflix from buying them? Is this really just Netflix hate? Or is there just something else that I'm missing? I don't know. But I don't know. This story has gotten really crazy really quick. Every week there's something different, but yeah, this is the latest. Larry Ellison's putting $40 billion on the line to really, I guess, draw. Hey, this is his Hail Mary.
Make a good point. I'm confused just as much as you are. And you had me thinking back just now. When Fox was selling, it was only Disney and Comcast that was so gun-ho hungry for them. And of course, we all know Disney outdid them. And then Disney even had to pay Comcast, so I guess they won slightly. There has to be something that we don't know or not seeing somewhere along the lines why everyone is this thirsty, because just like as my cousin mentioned, Warner Brothers put themselves up for sale a few years ago. And I can't remember who it was. I think I might have said it. I've forgotten now. But someone had came to them, I think it was like 8 billion, 3 billion, something like that. And they were like, no. And there were no other bidders, no takers, nothing like that. So they just retracted and was like, all right, we'll try to work through this. Clearly that's not working. This level of gun-ho hungriness, I do not understand. And it does beg the question, okay, if Paramount, you had this juice from the get-go when the bidding was going and you got outbidded, then why didn't you come out with this offer from the get-go? Why the backdoor scheming to the shareholders, passing the board? Why all of this? And then too, why so hungry to keep this from Netflix? I mean, we've talked about this before with our news articles. These companies don't want this much IP in the hands of potentially the new guy on the block who doesn't do things their way. But why? There has to be something. And then Warner Brothers rejected the hostile bid. They're like, no, even if you are coming with more money, wherever the hell you're going to get it from, they're like, no, we are far more comfortable, interested in Netflix. They're talking a merger rather than just a straight buyout, combining everything. This will work out great for Netflix. Essentially, we don't know what the fuck is going to happen with this Warner Brothers debt because shit. And it's funny because now I'm saying it out loud. That 40.4 billion guarantee, ain't that the amount of debt that Warner Brothers is dragging along? That guarantee of 40 billion, is that a wink like, hey, this is your debt that we gonna clear out for you? We'll liquidate that and everything else is smooth sailing. Is that what the fuck this is? I don't know. Every time this comes up, it is everywhere on my timelines and news articles every time. And then just like my cousin, I didn't know who the fuck this dude was. I didn't know who the hell Oracle was. But his name was plastered everywhere of this guaranteed 40 billion. And it's like, is Warner Brothers truly this influential to have this. And again, why now? Why are you all so hungry? And then I want to ask you, Treese, and the audience, where's Comcast in all this shit? Because when any media goes up for sale, it's up for grabs, Comcast is quick to be there to, hey, let me get that. They are nowhere to be found. Not in initial talks, not in the bid war. There's clearly something bigger than the consumer's eyes and the public sector that we don't know about, that we are not seeing on how this shit is unfolding. And it is utterly crazy.
Yeah, so I did they Warner Brothers debt is currently sitting at $35 billion. So yeah, that would pay off their debt and then some. And Comcast, that's a very interesting that's very interesting thing to say. Comcast wasn't betting heavily on the Warner Brothers deal because its offer was primarily stock based and cash light, making it less attractive to Warner Brothers board. Okay, so I guess they did put something in, but it was just so insignificant that they were like, "Nah, get out of here." Compared to rivals like Netflix and Paramount, those whose bids were cash heavy. Okay, so Comcast did make a bid. It just wasn't a lot of cash. It was more stock. So yeah, they threw their hat in the ring. I mean, it's just I guess
Oh, okay.
they ain't got enough cash on hand to make the deal happen when you compare it to Netflix and Paramount. Listen, it's something weird going on here. Maybe this is just more of Netflix. They don't want Netflix to have it, but I'm like, damn, is it that much hate in Netflix in the media world? And then too, I'm just like, Warner Brothers tried to sales and they was getting $8 billion offers, and now maybe like a year and a half later, now Larry Ellison is quadrupling that with a $40 billion guarantee plus whatever else Paramount Plus was gonna give them. It's just crazy. I don't know what the hell is going on. Let us know what you think in the comments below, because this is getting weird. Let me ask this too. If tech billionaires are buying Hollywood, are we about to get better content in our movies or TV shows or streaming shows? Or is there a good chance that we get worse content? Because the first thing that happens after a company spends buku money like this, they start looking around like, we got to trim fat. So I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. The whole Hollywood and media thing where we at in 2025 going into 2026 is very weird. Streaming services are nickel and diming people. The cost is going up, and therefore the prices is going up. And yeah, it's getting real weird in Hollywood. And I hate to just say it's just weird as a content creator, but I just didn't think this topic would be still going on. I thought this would have been another Disney or Fox, but apparently that's not what's happening here. And it looked like the fight is gonna keep happening until somebody get knocked out. And I would have thought that Warner Brothers rejecting the hostile bid would have been a knockout, but apparently it's not. That motherfucker got up off the pavement and is still fighting. Like, Jesus. But let us know what you think on this comment below. How you feel? Who is going to be the ultimate winner of this boxing match that is Paramount Plus and Netflix? I know a lot of people were kind of defending and saying that Paramount Plus would be the better buyer to them because they don't like how Netflix do some of their shows and stuff like that. So, but let me know in the comments below, how do you feel? Because this is getting crazy. PC gaming has always been about choice, but that choice is getting pretty expensive now. RAM prices are climbing, upgrades are costing more, and for the first time in a long time, some PC players are asking a dangerous question: is it still worth it? So will rising RAM prices actually push PC gamers towards consoles? Or is this just another hardware cycle PC players will power through? Because when the cost of entry keeps going up, platform loyalty starts getting tested. All right. Because this isn't about RAM getting a little more expensive, it's about momentum. PC gaming thrives on incremental upgrades. Swap a GPU, add more RAM, stretch your system another year. When RAM prices climb alongside GPUs, CPUs, and storage, those small upgrades stop feeling small. And at the same time, consoles are offering something PC can't right now: price certainty. One box, one cost, and no surprise upgrade taxes. For players players who just want to play, that stability matters. That doesn't mean PC gaming is dying. I'm not saying that. Enthusiasts will always push through the higher cost prices. The casuals and the mid-tier PC crowd are sensitive to price jumps, and that's where consoles start looking attractive again. So this isn't about abandoning PC, it's about, and when fractions keep stacking up, even loyal players start looking for a path of least resistance, and that could be consoles. Why RAM prices are rising, we covered a few times, but it's because manufacturers are cutting consumer supply, more focus on AI servers, data centers, and enterprises. DDR5 adoptions increases demand. Price hikes tend to last years, not months, and they're already projecting that the price of RAM will continue to climb for the next 2 years. And PC gaming relies on incremental upgrades. Players expect to add RAM, swap GPUs, stretch their system longer. Raising RAM prices break that upgrade mindset. Small upgrades don't feel affordable no more. And like we've always reported, it's always enthusiasts, the real hardcore, I should say, players of PC. Hey, they'll sell their firstborn to upgrade their PC and keep playing on PC. Cause let me just say, I think it was like a week ago, a guy said our channel would die because we play on consoles and not PC. And then he added, not that he's trying to hate or spread hate. But so let me just say that the PC players take their platform very, very, very serious. They'll sell some of their favorite organs to keep playing on PC and to upgrade their PC. So let me not ever paint a picture where the real hardcore PCs are ever going to give up their PCs. Nah, that's not happening. Now, the casual people who, are not really that hardcore or that dedicated, they could jump ship. Those are the people that is really, and like I said, are price sensitive. So them are the ones that I'm talking about in this topic. I don't want hardcore PC people to come into the comment section and make it seem like I'm talking to them. No, baby, I know you. I see you. I see you, like Avatar say. I see you. I know who you are. I know what you're about. You don't need to come defend your platform in the comments below. But and like I said, hardcores have seen this before. This is not the first time RAM or certain chips that they use to upgrade their PC has had a price increase. It's all about cycles. It's very relative. But listen, it's getting expensive. It is very, very expensive in the PC world right now. And honestly, I think what would happen, I don't think, for one, PCs are not going to give up whatever they have right now. Because whatever they have right now probably outdoes a console in its totality, honestly. So what they would do instead of getting a console is they'll just hold on to what they at and and just stay packed for the next 2 years. I would think so, because what they have now is probably better, and PC games are typically more affordable, and then you can do more in a PC game. You got some mods and all that. You can really do a lot of stuff, and I don't think real PC players are going to give that up to go to a closed system like game console. It's really going to, and that's a real adjustment into how you play, going from PC to gaming, not having the mods, not having like certain aspects of gaming that they've come accustomed to being a PC player. But hey, these RAM prices, the GPU, CPU prices hikes are real, and it will hit your pocket. But I think real PC players are going to stand pack. They're not going to switch up. They look at gaming consoles as like a disease. They want no parts of that lifestyle. And I'm not saying PC players don't play on console every now and then. I'm just saying they're not giving up what they have to go and give Xbox $800 or give PlayStation 650, 750. I don't see that happening, but let me know what you think.
You make one point fair and clear. Hardcore PC enthusiasts don't give two shits about rising RAM costs, don't give two damns about peasants and how they play their games. You have people who probably take a second mortgage out, who fully redo their whole rig, optimize exactly how they want, and then not to mention add on the mods and all the different options that they have to play their games. Let me just say this. I understand. You pay to play how you want. I understand that. I have some hardcore who some only own a PlayStation just for exclusives. Some, although you really don't even need that much now. A few who only own a Nintendo for the exclusives. and who don't want to go through the whole emulation thing. As my cousin mentioned, we're not really talking about the hardcore. The hardcore demographic is small compared to the masses of the casual. Someone who maybe a few years ago was looking to build a PC so they can play Skyrim fully optimized with all the mods and bells and whistles. This constant rise, yeah, that might put a damper on it. That might shift simple-minded gamer or person, however, they choose to play games, may want like the simpler things in life. A 2 to 3, maybe $4,000 PC now, depending on the specs and the rising cost of everything, that could turn somebody off. Even some pre-built PCs now, if you can get your hands on them before they're all gone, that's about maybe a $1,500 to $1,800 investment. That is a lot if you're just using this thing to play games on. Consoles provide a simplistic plug and play. You buy the box, you hook it up to a hopefully a relatively nice TV. You buy the games and they just work. There is no INI files or checking the audio system or going in to make sure the update went to the right folder and directory. There's none of that. It is just simply, and to some people, that is a bit more attractive and simplistic and with ease than with PC. Your average person uses a PC, music, emails, and possibly streaming, if that. But then again, phones have replaced a lot of the need for that. So I can see this because just as there was a migration of people leaving console going to PC as they got more attractive and better pricing, there's no paying for online and things of that nature, but there's choice all around the board. You don't play multiplayer. So I can see it going both ways, but I know for a fact the hardcore, they're like, hey, if it takes 2 years for me to upgrade this, then it's just going to be 2 years. That's plain and simple. There are caveats on both ends. I believe I've reported before that, and it's not just a PC, it's a current gaming industry. There's a lack of optimization across the board, but I see it more, or it hits PC players the most, because when a game is being developed and it's multi-platform, PlayStation and, as you said, Xbox, they're closed systems. They have one spec, kinda. Xbox has the Series S and X. Whereas on PC, you have Ryzen chips, you have RTXs, I'm sorry, I can't remember one of the other companies. You just have a variety of things across the board to try to program and expect for, and some games do suffer for that. I believe Borderlands 4, we talked about this year, that was highly unoptimized. PC players were reporting horrendous issues going along with it. Monster Hunter Wild is highly unoptimized. Glitches galore, stuttering, frame tearing drops on the PC. Now they say yes, the console versions aren't great at all, but the has the most dings to it. So I can see this going both ways. I can see a 20-some-year-old, if he has a job, saving up, and then you see these prices and be like, oh well, most games come out on every or at least one of these console platforms besides PC, unless it's a really hardcore MMO or something that just needs the PC oomph to power it. So I can see someone like, hey, $700 console, nearly $2,000 PC. Okay, well, they're both expensive, but which one will you probably get more heft on? So I can see how that goes, and what I'm saying, but because I know people in the comments, the hardcore PC enthusiasts, we're not talking about you. This is a purely what if scenario, how things are and how they are going. And supposedly new systems are coming, and those won't be cheap either, even though they keep reporting that they will probably be within line. I highly doubt. That's all I have for this, because I mean, it could go either way, and I can see that. I wanted a PC build. I did have a dream, the perfect version of Skyrim with all the mods and etc. and Fallout 4 and everything. Well, that's on hold.
Yeah, I guess let me just ask the viewers, if upgrading your PC costs more than buying a console, which choice makes sense for you in that situation if you're debating about building a PC or buying a console? I guess, yeah, let me know in the comments below what would make more sense to you. And I bet majority of the people would probably still say, hey, I'm still going to build my PC because that's just who they are. They don't want to buy a console. They want the freedom that comes with PC gaming. So I think everything is relative. I think as prices go up, consumers get accustomed, and like I said, real PC people, if you die hard and you don't want no console, you gonna sell whatever you gotta sell to get that PC, baby. And shout out to you, because it's just getting really really expensive. So hey baby, save your pennies, save your nickels, so you can just get what you want at the end of the day. Because I don't recommend, if deep down you always want a PC, I don't think it's a smart thing to do to buy a console as a stopgap, because you still gonna end up having to spend the money money. It's just when are you going to spend the money? And I don't know if buying a console as a stopgap is the best choice for you if you're just dead set on going PC, you know. But I think that's a personal decision. Like I said, I'm just on the outskirts looking in. Only you can know what really your bank account can handle. But let me know in the comments below if upgrading your PC costs more than buying a console. Which one are you gonna do at the end of the day? And that is a wrap for today's show. We cover a lot of topics. Let us know if you agree or disagree, or if you were surprised by some of the news that we reported today on episode 15. Let us know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week for episode 16.
And we're out. And that's it for this video of Are You Not Entertained podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell so you'll never miss our next hot take. Until next time, Are You Not Entertained?